Good morning. I'm meteorologist Kevin Smith at the National Weather Service in Pocatello. This is your weather hazard briefing for Southeast Idaho for Wednesday, August 14th. So our pattern is not going to change much here as we look out over the entire next 7 days or so. A couple of the kind of big picture players as far as high pressure systems, low pressure systems, they'll move around a little bit. But in general, we're going to be stuck in between a high pressure system down over the Four Corners region into Texas. We're going to see low pressure, kind of persistent low pressure set up to our northwest along the Pacific Northwest coast. And that's going to kind of sandwich our forecast area here in Southeast Idaho in between these two features. And positioning of everything, the wind flow with everything, we're going to have a couple different ways that we can get thunderstorms going under this pattern. We're not looking at direct hits from strong organized systems blasting through the area. It's not what we're expecting under this, but we're going to see a lot of unsettled conditions and again, a couple different sources of potential thunderstorm activity. So what that spells for us, not a lot of change in temperatures over the next 7 days. Not a lot of wind, at least from what we're seeing right now as far as regional wind each afternoon. But again, an unsettled pattern that's going to lead to showers and thunderstorms pretty much every day. So that's what we're looking at here in the forecast. Driest conditions Friday, Saturday, and you'll see that here in a couple of the graphics. Might be maybe the two driest days of the 7-day forecast here. But otherwise, daily chances for afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Few of those storms may again be a little strong to severe today, not quite as widespread as what we saw yesterday, and maybe not quite the severe threat that we did encounter yesterday with some of those cells, but certainly some potential out there today. Hazards will include lightning, P to maybe quarter-size hail, and some wind gusts on the order of 40 to 60 miles an hour out of the strongest cells this afternoon and evening. And generally speaking, looking at our whole forecast area here, most favorable timing 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., and that'll vary by an hour or two depending on your exact town. So that's really the big story as far as the weather for the next 7 days. We'll keep an eye out as to which days we might see scattered thunderstorm coverage with a lightning risk that may prompt a red flag warning here or there. There may be a couple days we get close to meeting that criteria for our fire weather partners, so we'll be addressing that day by day as well. But that's going to be the main story here as we advance through the forecast. Here's all the thunderstorms. We've laid them out here over the next 5 days. You can see pretty good coverage over the region today. Not so much eastern Magic Valley. You may squeak out mostly dry this afternoon while activity fires off just to your east. More widespread thunderstorm potential tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then there's those drier days, Friday and Saturday. Friday, your best chance is up north, northern portions of the Central Mountains, maybe parts of the Lost River area, Lemhi County. Saturday, mostly dry, except maybe an evening into early overnight shower or storm down in the Southeast Highlands. And then we start to build back into more widespread chances of afternoon thunderstorms here on Sunday. It kind of remains to be seen how much monsoon moisture flavor we kind of bring northward here into our forecast area to fuel these. We may continue to see kind of a mix of wet and dry thunderstorms in this unsettled pattern. No watches, warnings, and advisories out there this morning across the region, except for an air quality advisory that remains in effect here for places like Stanley and Chalice. Best smoke, according to our models, is going to stay up north, including that area, but generally not too bad on the air quality and smoke front here down across the southern, let's say, 2/3 of our forecast area, at least over the next 2 days or so. We'll continue to keep an eye on that as well. Current satellite loop this morning, not much going on. Some high-level clouds indicated by the white here drifting across southern and eastern Idaho. So you'll be mixing up to a mix of, or waking up, I should say, to a mix of sun and clouds here after daybreak. And on the radar side of things, we've actually seen some unsettled conditions overnight. A few showers have continued all night long here, stretching from the southern central mountains in between Sun Valley and Arco up across the upper Snake into the Island Park, Clark County region, seeing a few of these light showers and even maybe a couple flashes of lightning, rumbles of thunder out of some of this activity. Expecting this to kind of continue this morning, maybe dwindle a little bit with time before we ramp back up with daytime heating here after about 1 p.m. or so. Low temperatures as you're headed out this morning are feeling really nice out there compared to some of the stretches of hot weather we've had here over the past month or so. Of course, Stanley, Copper Basin checking in quite cool, but many of us waking up to the 50s here for morning low temperature readings and headed toward fairly nice temperatures this afternoon too, again compared to some of our heat. 70 for Island Park, 80s dominant across most of our lower elevation population centers here, a little bit cooler up toward Sun Valley and Stanley as well. Montpelier just a little bit cooler. Severe weather outlook today. Best chance for seeing a strong to severe thunderstorm generally from Du Bois and Pocatello and Malad eastward, where you see this darker green shading. That's a marginal risk of a severe thunderstorm. It's level 1 out of 5 levels of threat here. But if you look at the lighter green shading, hard to rule out a chance of a thunderstorm just about anywhere after about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So do keep that in mind if you have outdoor plans, outdoor work, recreation over the course of the afternoon and evening. High temperatures tomorrow, warming up just a little bit. A few of our mountain locales here still getting up into the 70s, but 80s definitely dominating from the Snake Plain into many of our other lower elevation population centers and valleys. And right now looking at a chance of thunderstorms everywhere during the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday. Right now, leaning away from an organized severe weather threat, but we'll continue to evaluate that, see if we get some more wind or hail out of any of these cells. Friday, we'll gain just another degree or two, but again, upper 70s to upper 80s, depending on where you are for high temperatures. Luckily, not seeing a strong warming trend here toward excessive heat values or anything like that. Doesn't look like we're going to get there, which is good news for those of us who are, frankly, quite tired of some of the heat that we've had this summer. Severe weather outlook for Friday. All of that thunderstorm risk really shifts north. Remember, Friday is the first day of our 2 drier leaning days in this unsettled thunderstorm pattern. So as you get up towards Stanley, Chalice, Ladore, West Yellowstone, still a chance of at least an isolated afternoon shower or thunderstorm, but predominantly dry across the rest of our southeast Idaho forecast area on Friday. High temperatures Saturday, still inching up just a degree or two, but we're not going to get much warmer than this, at least in our current 7-day forecast. Few 90s possibly coming back in across the eastern Magic Valley here into Shoshone, Twin Falls, pretty close to Burley and Pocatello, upper 80s to near 90. And Sunday will hold fairly steady with temperatures very close to 90 in that corridor, but otherwise 80s, again dominating most locales here across our forecast area. So that's generally what we're looking at here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns for us, we're here 24/7, so please feel free to reach out. And everyone have a great Wednesday.